Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
And happy Monday morning to you, and apologies for my nose, my mouth, and my eye, all undergoing medical treatment as we speak. But, oh man, I really wonder how media, even if they were sort of doing the job well, how they could possibly cover everything that's going on right now. There's just no way. And I've been wondering if like CNN and these others will alter their formats where they tend to just focus on, one story ad nauseum for 25, 30 minutes and then maybe give a few other things a little blip, 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 blip. There's too many huge stories going on. And they require all of them, a context, clarification, information. And if they were doing the job right, they'd get away from this, trying to glom onto a specific narrative of the most dramatic story and let that drive their audiences to them. I don't know. Ain't going to happen, I'm sure, because they ain't into necessarily disseminating news. Just want to do a shout out for our football teams. I have two. Steelers and the Packers. Who would have thunk? And what else? Driving in, I happened to tune on an AM radio station talk show and heard a story that I did not know. And it really is unsettling. And I did not see it in the Post-Gazette, which I read over the weekend. This is a story that apparently happened on January 1, on New Year's Eve. And it's a Pittsburgh firefighter who OD'd on heroin at the firehouse on New Year's Eve. And he's alive because the other firefighters there knew he was an addict, saw him out, didn't think he was just sleeping, immediately got that, Narcan, I think. Narcan, and squirted it up his nose and brought him back. And then they brought him to the hospital, but didn't identify him as a firefighter. So there was an effort to cover up the fact. And if you think this opioid epidemic is not real and extraordinarily widespread, it's now he's a firefighter. And his buddies know it. Now, the problem is a firefighter has to be a lifesaver himself. And so a firefighter ODing on heroin at the station is not a good thing. And the fact that, I guess, there was an attempt to cover it up is not a good thing. He has been put on 10-day leave. He is in immediate rehab, but apparently has been in rehab before and has failed, and which is not unusual either. The guy needs help, but he definitely does not need to be holding down his job right now as a Pittsburgh firefighter for 10 days, 11, 12, 13, 14, whatever. He's got to be clean before he can. I mean, my gosh. That's a little bit unsettling, I think, that story. A few other... Excuse me for sniffing in your ears. How disgusting. And coughing. I can't... So, there are... another local story I want to talk about. We haven't done local stories in so long. Let me do it. It's a respite from you-know-who. And then I do also want to get to the Golden Globes, which I did watch most of, but flagged toward the end, and so I didn't see, I'd say, the last. I don't know when it ended, but I didn't see it all. But there was some interesting things that happened that certainly we can talk about, and the fact that, of course, Donald Trump, our soon-to-be president, is already tweeting about what Meryl Streep said about him at the awards. It again brings it into our line of vision beyond belief. What a petty, tiny, small, little man. The other local story is one of those stories that, like, ain't sexy. Most people probably didn't want to read it. It was a little too long. It was journalism, the way journalism's supposed to be. It was done by the Post-Gazette and by Rich Lord. They're excellent investigative reporter. And it was surprising, and that's why I want to bring it up. I'm a fan of Bill Peduto's. And I received an invitation, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago, maybe 2 months ago, to a fundraiser, a kickoff fundraiser for his election effort. And I thought, well, I mean, I'm not going to go, but I also thought, what does he need money for? Who the hell's going to challenge him? I mean, what does he need? It's not going to be a big campaign, I'm sure. And yet, it turns out from this story, oh yeah, they're raising millions. And it is the manner in which this kind of politicians going to people for money. This is part of the swamp, right? Bill Peduto has a history of fighting for transparency in campaign finance. He authored a bill to do just that in the city before he was the mayor. But the upsetting thing, I got to get a Kleenex. The upsetting thing is that while we understand that politicians get on the phone and ask people for money, this always sets up the potential for what, as you know, is called pay for play. If you want to get any business with the city or with the state or with the feds, then you damn well better, pony up if we're asking money for re-election. That's obviously corrupting. That is corrupt. And what is always said is there's no quid pro quo. Another, we contact these people, but we don't do it on the clock. We do it on our own. And but come on. The concern is that the mayor's chief of staff, Kevin Acklin, took 2 half days in October, took them off so that we weren't paying him, and spent that time not getting paid because he was working to raise money for Peduto's re-election. And what he was doing was calling, and he cooperated totally. He told the Post-Gazette who he called. He was calling mostly developers in the city. And suggesting they might want to pony up some money for the mayor's re-election. He was not, that's all it was. But Kevin Acklin, the mayor's chief aide, is also the chairman of the Urban Redevelopment Authority. The Urban Redevelopment Authority, as I suspect you know, is an organization extremely powerful that decides what's going to get developed in the city. who the city's going to give contracts to, who it's going to work with. So if this guy is the chair of the URA, but he is just this morning not getting a paycheck from us, but he is calling these same developers who appear before the URA and saying, in my guise as the mayor's chief of staff, I'm hoping that you'll be able to support us. Again, this is how our swamp works at every level of government. I'm bringing up the fact that it's happening here and now with Bill Peduto because Bill Peduto, I thought, wouldn't do this. Wouldn't have the head of his urban redevelopment authority making these calls. Now, I think Peduto would say, well, I wasn't. I was having my chief aide make these calls. I'm sorry, it's the same guy. Michael Lamb, the city controller, who would love to be mayor himself, I think is absolutely correct. He called it, quote, a very bad practice for the chairman of the board of the URA to be making political fundraising calls to the very people the URA is intending to do business with. Duh! Here is the head of Common Cause in Pennsylvania. True reform doesn't include campaign calls from a top development official to developers. As an architect of the city's campaign finance reform law, Mayor Peduto should certainly recognize the impropriety of this activity and stop it immediately. Now, I'm just surprised and disappointed. Again, the guy from Common Cause. Anyone in Mr. Ackland's role has life or death powers over the projects that these developers are pursuing. How is a developer supposed to feel if he gets a call from him? I don't think any citizen should feel that he's compelled to contribute to a particular politician to protect his business interests. Now, I have to tell you, all those developers out there, those big developers, would laugh at that statement. They would say, oh, come on, get real. Of course we do. It's part of doing business. And it works. It's what Donald Trump told everybody. I know how it works. You give them money, and then you have access, and you get help, and you do this, and you do that. Right, that's how it works. So I just want to say, Bill Peduto, I was thinking, what do you need to raise a lot of money? Who the hell's going to challenge you? You're extremely popular mayor in a Democratic city. This is something that taints you. And it's totally unnecessary, Bill. And you can call me naive, but you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see that even if you guys are clean as hell, and they do point out in the story that, like, the guys from Walnut Capital, one of the biggest developers, did give money, and then they went to the URA not too much later, looking to turn the Hunt Armory in Shadyside into one of their developments, and they didn't, and they were spurned. So there was no pay. They gave money, and then they didn't get, in that instance, anything back. And it's quite possible that, in fact, all of these people are above board, and I know some of these people, and are people of integrity. But guys, perception. It looks really bad, and trust us just doesn't cut the mustard. And for somebody who puts himself forward as a true reformer, especially in terms exactly of this, campaign finance, then get someone else to make the calls. I mean, they even have someone on staff. There's a woman who is her name is Julie Hallinan, and she is the professional fundraiser for his campaign. She has no government job. It's totally separate. She's the one. But I think for the big boys, Julie Hallinan doesn't have, the status to be making calls. So that's where Kevin Acklin had to come in. And Peduto himself has to make calls. This is nuts. This is nuts. Money in our politics is the baseline for all of the trouble. That's where it starts. And there are ways to make things a little bit cleaner. And this is not one. And I just want to say I'm really disappointed. Okay. And now, on to the... did you watch the Golden Globes? God, I don't watch a lot of TV, but my God, yesterday I watched 2 football games and then went straight to the Golden Globes. I wonder if my head is mush. It might be. Yeah. Meryl Streep was being given the big award. She was introduced by Viola Davis, the extraordinary black actress, every bit Meryl Streep's, right up there. Those two, you don't get better. And Viola Davis won, actually, a supporting actress role for her role in Fences, which was shot here. But she got up to introduce Meryl Streep, and that speech blew me away. Just brilliant. And if you got a moment, I know Meryl's speech is all over the place. Look for Viola Davis's introduction to Meryl Streep, and then just watch the whole thing play out. It was something. So, I was not particularly surprised that Meryl Streep did what she did, because she has become, in her dotage, very much an activist, speaking out on feminist issues mostly, but just using her bully pulpit to try to influence people's thoughts, minds, whatever. It's fine. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But she picked up on the fact that actor Hugh Laurie had mentioned earlier that the people who give out these awards is the Foreign Press Association. Hollywood Foreign Press Association. And Laurie made some joke about this conceivably being the last Golden Globe ceremony, because if you just even look at who's putting it on, it's the 3 biggest, the most vilified segments of American society right now. Hollywood, foreigners, and the media. The 3 of the things that Trump and his minions like to take on. So Streep picked up on that and said that all of us belong. Everyone in this room belongs to one of those groups: Hollywood, foreigners, and the press. And then she went into the fact that Hollywood, let's go to Hollywood. Hollywood is a bunch of people from other places crawling with outsiders and foreigners. Let me actually go to her. I'll go to her speech. It's pretty. Do you mind? I was born and raised and educated in the public schools in New Jersey, she says. Viola Davis was born in a sharecropper's cabin in South Carolina, came up in Central Falls, Rhode Island. Sarah Paulson, born in Florida, raised by a single mom in Brooklyn. Sarah Jessica Parker, she was just pointing these people out in the audience, one of 7 or 8 kids from Ohio. Amy Adams, born in Vicenza, Italy. Natalie Portman, born in Jerusalem. Where are your birth certificates? She said. And the beautiful Ruth Negga, born in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, raised in Ireland, and she's here nominated for playing a small-town girl from Virginia. Ryan Gosling, like all the nicest people, is Canadian. And Dev Patel was born in Kenya, raised in London, and is here playing an Indian raised in Tasmania. So Hollywood is crawling with outsiders and foreigners. Okay. An actor's only job is to enter the lives of people who are different from us and let you feel what that feels like. And there were many, many, many powerful performances that did exactly that. Breathtaking, compassionate work. But there was one performance this year that stunned me. It sank its hooks in my heart. Not because it was good. There was nothing good about it. But it was effective, and it did its job. It made its intended audience laugh and show their teeth. It was the moment where the person asking to sit in the most respected seat in our country imitated a disabled reporter. Someone he outranked in privilege, power, and the capacity to fight back. It kind of broke my heart when I saw it. And I still can't get it out of my head because it wasn't in a movie. It was real life. And this instinct to humiliate, when it's modeled by someone in a public platform, by someone powerful, it filters down into everybody's life because it gives permission for other people to do the same thing. Disrespect invites disrespect. Violence incites violence. And when the powerful use their position to bully, we all lose. And okay, this brings me now to the press. We need the press to hold power to account, to call him, them, on the carpet for every outrage. And that's why our founders enshrined the press and its freedoms in our Constitution. So I only ask the famously well-heeled Hollywood Foreign Press and all of us in our community to join me in supporting the committee to protect journalists, because we're going to need them going forward, and they'll need us to safeguard the truth. She never mentioned Trump's name. It was clear who she was talking about. And of course, Trump. The minute I heard the speech, I thought, oh boy, Trump will be tweeting. And of course he did. This thin-skinned little man tweets that she's an overrated actress. I mean, there's not a person on this globe that would agree with that. Oh, dear. But then I did see, as usual, the Trump supporters saying, don't you guys get it? It's you guys talking down to us like this that made Trump the president. I'm trying to get my head around that because that's the argument, and I hear it over and over and over again. And there is a grain of truth in it that it would behoove us to acknowledge. I've been trying to think about it. And I mean, I am not one who's going to spend a lot of time trying to understand racists and all the haters and unserious people who wanted to shake things up. But I grew up amongst those people. You just have to travel a few miles out of Pittsburgh, and there they are. You know them. I know them. They're in our families. They're not. We know evil. All of them, most of them. And I've been trying to understand. I've come up with a few little things, make them of them what you will. I do think that while we look down our noses, and don't say we don't, that while we look down our noses at people in that other universe, that's a broad brush we're using. That's a broad brush. Those are people like us, work and have dreams and care for their families and blah, 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 blah. Okay? The reality is we all have more in common, but we can't find that anymore. We've totally lost sight of it. And we're in trouble if we don't somehow try to understand a little bit better. And at least to stop I'm guilty of all of this. I've really been struggling with myself. I don't know if I'm about to make any sense, but let me give it a shot. I know many of those people. I know many of those people to be good people. They've had different realities, different experiences than I. If you look at the red and the blue states, it is pretty remarkable. So the blue really is our two coastlines with a few, states stuck in. One of which used to be ours. We're gone now. And then there's this huge middle of America. It's more than the middle. It's the middle and out to the edge almost. That is where all these people live. It's famously called, right, flyover country, which is in itself an insult. Doesn't mean anything. What matters? East Coast, West Coast. That's where the power is. That's where the elite live. That's where all the people who make things happen are. The rest, meh. And so the people on the coast only know other people on the coasts. We don't mix. We don't mix as white and black, and we don't mix as flyover and coastal. We do not mix. We don't know each other. We don't talk. That's a problem. It is. I don't really know how to. And then stop and think. Here's something I thought. They, the Trump types, know us better than we know them. You want to know why? Because we pretty much control their lives. The elites on both coasts run everything. They run their lives. So when the guys in flyover country turn on their televisions, mostly what they're seeing is the world the coasts live in and observe and see. Popular culture is overwhelmingly liberal culture. It is Hollywood, television. I've told you before, I'm embarrassed, but I see Wheel of Fortune because it comes on after my show, Jeopardy! And so it's still on. And it's just remarkable how often it happened just again last week. When they're introducing the contestants always say something like, well, I'm married to my wonderful husband, 3 children, and blah, blah, blah. And so this one guy said, I'm married to my wonderful husband. And there's a guy saying that, I'm married to my wonderful husband. And the first time I heard it, I thought, whoa, it's Wheel of Fortune. And you just say, and nobody blinks, and blah, blah, blah. And then that guy went on to win. And he won big. He even got the final thing. And when you get the final thing, your wife or husband comes running onto the stage, right? And so his husband came running onto the stage. And they did what every winner in those situations do. They hug, they jump, they kiss, they this, they that. And I'm thinking, wow. Now, there are a lot of people, millions upon millions upon millions, who have not yet gotten comfortable with that. Acknowledge that. Don't jump on them. Nobody, we're different. Everybody can't immediately divest themselves of everything they've ever been taught by their parents, by their schools, by their culture, by their religion, by everything. But the elites and the coasts, we move faster. Because, we're diverse. We're this and that. We're comfortable. What I'm thinking is we've got to stop screaming at these people if we want to win them over. That does not work, and we have borne the reality of that. They hit back. They're sick of being pushed around by us, deciding what you can say, what you can't, what's okay, what isn't. I am not saying that gay marriage and everything these progressive moves forward are wrong. I'm saying we have to have the heart to understand that for some people, this is going to take a while to get comfortable. There are still people who are uncomfortable seeing a black and a white married. It takes generations, and it is not helpful to start calling them names and calling them haters when in fact they might not be haters. They're seeing everything they thought was how the world was ordered blown to bits. And they're living in a world in which everything seems to be getting blown to bits. Everything's destabilized. Their jobs are gone. Their pensions are gone. This is gone. That's gone. And now blah. And we, progressives, pride ourselves on our empathy. Being able to be in someone else's shoes. How about we try a little bit harder? I'm not talking about excusing the racists or the real haters, the people who are unreachable. But I have to believe that is not the majority of the people who voted for this guy. They are people capable of growing. But we got to put down the stick and have some carrots, man. Ridicule. And here's the other thing. We think they're provincial, right? Guess what? We're provincial in our way. I remember when I moved to New York in the 70s, I was blown away by what I thought would be these sophisticated people. I'm a rube from Wisconsin. I'm in Manhattan getting to know all these sophisticates. And all I could think is, these guys don't know shit. What kind of a world are they living in? They don't know people. They don't even know that there's something beyond, the Hudson River. It's like, and anyone who does know New Yorkers, or they are about the most provincial, blindered humans on earth. We've got to be able to recognize this crap in ourselves. Oh, God, I don't know how we even begin. And I don't even know how I begin. Because you know what I say about Trump voters. I have said everything you can imagine. And in fact, it was wrong of me in that you can't lump millions of people together. And I grew up with these people. And they're people I've relied on in my life. And my mom relies on now. And they're the best. Many of them. Many, many, many. So, anyway, that's why I'm just starting to struggle, because we're going to get, serious, we are going to get nowhere. And I'm not saying you don't resist the politics of Trump and the hate and the craziness that's going to be going on. But let's stop vilifying each other, the regular people who are just trying desperately to comprehend what the hell is happening. Because if you live in a small town in Iowa or Wisconsin, you have a very, very, very different life. You don't see it on TV. You don't see it in the movies all that much, except that it looks bad. Looks bad. We have a call. Hello? I can't, hang on. We can't hear you. Hello? Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. What I was going to say when you were talking about Donald Trump saying she's overrated, I agree she's overpaid. That's what I'd say. And the whole entertainment business is so overpaid.
Oh, it's sickening. But we're an entertainment culture. Listen, it shows where the big guys make money. You don't pay Meryl Streep the millions she makes, or you don't pay Megyn Kelly the tens of millions she's going to make. You don't pay Ben Roethlisberger the kind of money he makes because you're feeling generous. You give him that money because you make 20 times more.
Right. My solution is tax the hell out of them. After the first million, the second million, 50%. And the next one, 50%.
Well, as you know,
out of them.
Well, as you know, Donald Trump intends to do the exact opposite.
I know, but that's the only way you're going to make the social safety net solvent. That's the only way you're going to solve a lot of the money problems we have in this country, is start taxing these bastards what they're supposed to pay.
You're not worth that kind of money. When an actor makes more than a carpenter, I'm sorry. There's both have skills. There's no difference. A skill is a skill. So don't give me this bullshit.
It ain't good. I agree with you.
And all that bullshit. And I can sing. You know what? I can go to any bar in Beaver County and find just as good as singers as the ones out there. I get, including myself, I play guitar and sing. I used to be in a band. But it just amazes me that our country has come to this where you have this isolated section of the entertainment business making the money they make, and people think that's okay. And then you got people can't even pay for their health care.
No, I agree. We have always, but this country has always paid the wrong people. I remember, again, when I was living in New York in the 70s, they had the garbage guys went on strike. And the garbage was piling up. And then I realized, do you know what? That job is actually of more value to the quality of my life than some jerk sitting in a high-rise pushing paper around.
Right.
Right? So you see, the very jobs that keep everything moving, the garbage guys, as you said, a carpenter who produces something, the bakers, the teamsters, the working people, nothing works without them, and yet they are never paid. Our teachers are not paid enough. People are not paid for doing valuable work. The people we have take care of the elderly, the people we have take care in teaching preschool. They don't even make living wages. What's more important than caring for our aging parents or our grandchildren?
Right.
We have no. The whole system we have does not place value as value should be placed, because it's how capitalism works. This is how capitalism has worked, and you can no more change that without taking it down and making it essentially more socialistic. You can't. It's not going to stop.
There should be a mixed minimum wage and a maximum wage. Once you get to that point, then the rest of it goes in taxes. Sorry to say, people, but how many friggin' mansions do you have to live in? How many nice cars do you have to own? It's sickening, filthy, rich. Oh, it makes me nauseated.
No, I agree.
I don't even watch movies anymore. I don't watch them. I watch very little entertainment. I don't buy
Me either.
CDs, DVDs. I don't want to promote that stuff.
I agree.
like to see the bastards sink and have to go get a real job. Honest to God, I know it's a job. I know they work.
No, they work hard. It is. It's hard, and they've got talent. But, to focus on them as opposed to these guys, I'm looking out at a bunch of high-rises right here. A lot of people, again, in these big buildings downtown here, you think they got a ton of talent? They got an MBA. They're not doing it. They're not producing a damn thing.
No.
Okay?
Yeah.
Get mad at them. There's a hell of a lot more than them.
That's part of the tax thing. When you change the tax code, then you can get some of the money back that they don't really deserve to begin with. I don't know. That's my...
I hear you. Listen, it was in my lifetime that we did have a tax rate that you're talking about.
Right. And that's when the country probably did better.
It was in the 50s. The country went berserk. We were building. We were thising and thatting. And was the economy down? No. The economy was sky high. Were entrepreneurs still willing to do stuff? They were willing. My dad was a successful small town developer. Mm-hmm. He got himself, because of his success, in the highest bracket. He was paying at one point over 90% of what he made, think of that, to the feds. Could you want to do that? And he would bitch about it. He would say, I would too. You make $1, you turn 90 cents of it over to the government. And you know what his mother-in-law would say, my mom's mom? She'd look at him and she'd say, such high-class problems.
Well, see, I think I would go with more of like millions.
Let me tell you, he made plenty.
Well, there could be a point where you could make it work, where it wouldn't hurt somebody at a smaller business or...
Exactly.
There's a way they can do it.
Exactly.
But they'll say, it'll hurt everybody.
No. Well, technically he was a small businessman. He was.
Right.
But
I'm not even talking about people like that. I'm talking about
the biggies.
That's who I'm talking about.
I know.
I mean,
I know.
And Trump wants to just give them breaks, and I'm sorry, I don't know.
Listen, Wall Street has moved its offices into the White House. I mean, all that's there are these guys from Wall Street. Goldman Sachs, essentially, did they close down their regular building and just move into the White House? Because that's who's there.
Yep.
And what's so sad is that those poor people who voted for Trump thinking he was going to help them. Oh, my God. I mean, if I weren't so mad at him, I'd really feel sorry for him. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Although you got to sing for us sometime now.
No.
Oh, yeah. You said it. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
James, thank you for this, because I had the same thought. James writes, I actually read a pundit's comment on Streep's comments this morning, and he wrote, when are we going to stop glorifying and giving credence to these rich celebrities? James says, I actually spit my breakfast cereal. Didn't they just elect one? They cannot say, why should we listen to this, billionaire actor? Well, you just elected a billionaire reality show host. Same thing, guys. Same thing. Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
I have no idea what topic you're on, but I was calling about this notion that...
We can barely hear you.
Hello.
Thank you. That helps. That helps.
I was calling about this notion that because these people are offended by everything, that we're supposed to pretend that their reality is real.
Well, their reality is their lives are real. Yeah, maybe their attempt to make sense of what's going on is a little askew.
Well, for example, there's an easy one. Global warming is a real thing.
Yes.
So, they're stupid if they don't believe that, and I don't see how, pretending otherwise is going to help anything.
I'm not talking to deal with them on that level. I am saying find our human... They're human beings.
Right.
They're good. Many of them, they're fine, wondrous people. My God.
If you've ever talked to any of these people or been around in big crowds, they do not think you're a human being, and they lump us all together. And using that...
Oh, no, I think that goes both ways.
They took over the entire government, so I don't see
how
it's a failed course of action if it works for them. I don't like it.
Let's try to be a little less broad brush, okay?
Another reality that, we're going to have to deal with is, this is how they function, and it works very well.
Yes.
So I don't think, being mealy-mouthed, limp-wristed liberals is probably going to get us out of this.
Well, I would agree to that, too. But being smart at marketing our positions and making them so that they can comprehend it, we would do well. You're not going to change one single mind by just denigration of them. You will not change one mind. How does that help us?
People, but I don't think that we need to say, well, since you don't understand reality, we'll just stop talking about it. The reality is, No,
you've got to keep talking the reality. But in a little less, I think condescension is what I'm talking about here. People feel it, and you lose them the minute they feel talked down to. They do.
Yeah, and as soon as they realize that there's something that they're ignorant of, in the true sense of the word, they feel that way. So you cannot talk to them about anything, because that's how they always feel.
Is it possible we're ignorant about them in some ways?
I don't think so.
Well,
I them every bloody day, so I'm with these people more often than not. I'm pretty aware of
And you don't find anything about them that you find honorable and good? Individually, I'm talking about. You say you see them every day?
Well, I don't think I said that, but
what?
I don't think I said that they're evil people that need to be thrown into furnaces. What I'm saying.
I didn't say you did. I'm saying, how about trying to shift into
that I have noticed is for example, the number one characteristic of the people I'm around all the time is that they're extremely cowardly. They feel the need to be armed at all times because they're terrified of things that are not going to happen.
Well, that's right. I mean, and again, this is what Republicans, especially the NRA, have managed to do. Is literally, it's so easy to do, and it's what liberals don't do as much. Is they use fear. And fear, and fear, once you start using fear, then you also start using vilification and hate. You have to be fearful of these people, fearful. And they've harmed, the Republicans have done such harm. I'm going to leave my rage not at the people who they hoodwinked as much as at them. I'm going to keep my eye on the Republican Party, because they are the ones who for decades have worked to bring us to this pretty pass. And I am going to train it on them and not the poor, bewildered souls that they have scammed.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do that by, pretending that those people are correct about something.
I'm not either. And I am not either. We do not disagree in that regard. I'm just going to try to check the condescension and ridicule when you're talking about regular people as opposed to the Republican
Well, that's extraordinarily difficult with a group of people that feel ridiculed every time they find out they don't know something, and there's not knowing something occurs almost all of the time.
I understand. Okay. Work at it. You're not going to. Okay, good.
No, I'm probably working on it more than most people.
Okay.
I'm talking to them every single day. I'm
not if you're talking down to them. All right. Bye. Bye. I want to get some of these in. Brooke writes, for years I've been saying that most Americans are centrists. You're absolutely correct. And there was certainly a time when that was true. I do think it's really true. That's where America wants to be. But Brooks says no more. In the past decade or two, as the Republicans have worked to secure governorships, redraw congressional maps, and recruit gun-loving high school dropouts as voters, they've also worked hard to eliminate the centrists. They have. They've eliminated them with the exception of a handful from any position in their party. They have been divisive, and they have divided us because it is not to their advantage to have people in the middle. And that's why you can no longer get people together on anything. I agree. So let's be clear. It's the Republicans we're after. The Republican establishment, the Republican Party, not the people they've played for power. I want to tell you something. I've been seeing a lot of docs lately. One of the docs I see is from Russia. He grew up in Russia. He started his adult life in Russia. He started his medical career in Russia. So he was formed in the Soviet. It wasn't Russia. It was the Soviet Union. Okay. So I love talking to him about how he perceives what's going on. You know what he said to me last week? It blew my mind, but it's absolutely true. He said, you know who the Republicans, he says, it's so weird. He said, I know these people. He said, the Republicans in this country, and he's talking again, not about the people Republicans. He's talking about Mitch McConnell and Ryan. He's talking about party leaders. He says the Republicans are exactly like the communists. Now, he knows from communists. He grew up with them, lived with them, and got the hell out. He says they are exactly like the communists. And I said, how? And he said, because all they really care about is power. Power. And stop and think about it. And however you get there, so that the ends justify the means. Say what you have to say. Do what you have to do. lie through your teeth, deny lying through your teeth, even though there's video that you did lie through your teeth. Stay strong, be shameless, be scary, be powerful, be aggressive, be macho. Bang. He said they even look like the commies that were in power. He says, I look at the Republicans' leadership, I see the Politburo. He is correct. There's no principle underlying them. They want raw power. And that's why, in case you're having your head confused by how the Republican Party can now be so cozy with Vladimir Putin, they understand each other. They're peas in a pod. And take it from a very smart man who's lived in both countries and watched it. Whoops, sorry, missed you. Henry writes, after Meryl Streep's speech, I looked over at my wife and she had tears in her eyes. A lot of people did. She felt like I did. Because of her fame, she has a louder voice, and she took advantage of the International Golden Globe audience and took a stand. Thank goodness for people with this courage. When you have a loudmouth like Trump, you need people with big voices, too, to take him on. You're absolutely right. P.S. You mentioned Trump's lawsuits last week. Over the weekend, I read he's involved in multiple lawsuits regarding his renovation of the old post office just blocks from the White House. There are liens on, he is, who sent me this thing, damn it, now I've lost it. He is involved right now in well over 1,000 lawsuits. I'm sorry, to the member of the audience who sent me that wonderful thing, and now I've it's gone. Thousands. We have a call. No? Hello?
Oh, is this Lynn?
Yes, it is.
Hi, your phone was ringing with lots and lots. But anyway, your topic today is dead on about how I think as liberals we can be very condescending and turn people off, and I think I'm guilty of that.
I am too.
I know I've written to you a lot about, emailed you a lot about, I'm really mad at my family, and having a hard time letting go of that. And this weekend I went to a wedding in Buchanan, West Virginia.
Uh-huh.
I was not looking forward to it.
I bet.
And we pull up to the church. Right across the street from the church is a house with a big, huge "Let's Make America Great Again" banner. It's like half the size of the house. And I'm like, God, ugh. And the website of the church, of course, I checked it out before we went down. Was talking about what they stand for and how marriage is between a biological man with a biological woman.
Wow, that's what they were saying at the church. Well, that's what they believed it for thousands of years. So yeah.
Yeah, and then as you scroll down at what they believe in, the last thing they said was, and we believe that those with Jesus, the Lord, will be, will be in, happiness, whatever they call it, I forget, and everybody else will be in everlasting damnation.
Nice. I'll see you there.
And I have a gay daughter that everybody knows is gay. She wasn't at the wedding. She's still, and she's probably going to be getting married here in a few months. I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm like, I really had to swallow a lot of, I'm trying to do this for the family. I'm trying to be big. But I can see where if I get on my high horse or make a statement, I'm just pushing them away.
And yet, everything that you were reading there or hearing is pushing you away. And that's what they're not acknowledging. I don't know. We've got to somehow look. You love some of these people, right?
Oh, they're, like you were saying, they're good people. You want them in your corner. They do good things.
I know.
But I don't know how to reconcile this with myself.
I understand. And we're all struggling like mad. But you can darn well betcha we ain't going to get to a better place by focusing on what's separating us.
And it's like, it's like, what do I do?
I think they need time.
What does that mean?
I mean, because even look, I'm a liberal. Even I have had moments where I'm like struggling to keep up with where some of the more progressive types want to keep pulling. I think I have had trouble. I was arguing against gay marriage just 10 years ago, maybe. I was saying it's just a little too quick. You want to be able to do it in a way. Let's go for civil unions. Let's blah, 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 blah. Good heavens, Barack Obama just recently, we have some people, by virtue of their experience and every institution that has informed their perspective on life, feel very strongly that much of what's going on is just counter to everything they've ever been taught. Give them a little more than a year or two.
I guess.
Let them see your daughter get married. Let them see her wonderful children and how beautiful they are and how fine they are. Let them see. It's going to take that kind of time.
You're absolutely right. And that's the thing I have to work with my daughter, because she's like me. Why would I be hanging with these people when they're going to belonging to institutions that are against me, And so maybe we all just got to be a little bit bigger and then be examples.
Better that, but don't be patsies. I mean, I intend to resist, as I said, I just don't want to resist necessarily the people in my life that have been bamboozled by all of this and who aren't living in an environment where it's easier to grow as we have. It's not.
Just listen to the words you just said, because I feel them. I understand. I'm right there. And when I'm having a conversation with one of these people, and it goes to this direction like we're talking to right now, it's hard in the heat of the moment not to say those words, because those words bamboozled, you're making that, you're calling me stupid.
That's right. That's right.
That's what I have a hard time controlling.
That's right.
And that's the type of thing that separates us. And I am just as guilty as anybody there. But at the same time, I don't want to sit down, lie down, take it. And my wife always says, why are we the ones who always have to be sympathetic? Why are we the ones who are supposed to be trying to be understanding? Because they're just shitting on us every chance they get. And there's some truth to that, too.
Well, but stop and think about it. From their point of view, they're saying, why are we the ones who are always supposed to, you mean all of a sudden I'm supposed to be comfortable with seeing two men walking down the street kissing? How come I'm all of a sudden, because these people say, that was then, this is now, never mind that it was millennia that this was not considered. I mean, it's hard to do, but it's not like they don't have a leg to stand on from their perspective.
I guess the thing is why we're I feel like we're trying to be understanding.
Yes, we are.
And they're trying to stop people living a certain way. It's like we're not trying to control people.
But that's not completely true. Have you been to a college campus recently? When the left took over the college campuses, man, they try to control. They control people's speech. They control what you can say and what you can't. We are no different when we get power. And I think the left, that kind of political correct left, has so much to do with the fact that Donald Trump is president that I'd really like to know just how that is the kind of thing. It turned my brother for a while into a Republican because he was a professor at the University of Michigan. He was so repulsed by the sort of what he felt was almost a fascistic left, controlling people's speech, and people living in fear of saying the wrong thing, of blah, blah, blah. And he got so disgusted with it that he couldn't bear being identified with Democrats. He's come around. It was Sarah Palin, thank God, who got him back. But he's no dummy. And that's how sort of ham-fisted the left can be too. And if you're not feeling like they're feeling, but you're existing where they're in control, I don't think you feel free.
I can understand your brother, but I'll be honest with you, the people I was hanging with this weekend, I don't think they've been at a university a very long time.
Okay, all right.
But
I mean, even as I said, the popular culture they see, you know?
Yeah, you're right.
You're right. They don't get it. They don't understand what the hell is happening. They don't live around black people. So even like hip-hop and all of this that's now the rage, and Hamilton, my God, it's like hip. What's going on? I don't even understand. They don't understand. They're not being taken along. I don't know. We got work.
Yeah, I know.
We're all human, and we're all capable of being sons of bitches and trying to have everybody live the way we want them to live. We do. We are. We just have two different views of what it is we want. I just don't think, again, we cannot pretend on our side that we have been successful in selling our message.
Terrible.
We have failed totally. So I don't get where we get on our high horse. I don't get it. We have failed. We are losers. I don't care if she got almost 3 million more votes. We lost. They own the states. They own everything. So I would not look down my nose. I would get to work and figure out what the hell have we been doing wrong.
Yep, you're right. It's a tough.
You know what though?
And keep my cool.
I know.
You know, it's very hard for me.
We're struggling, each of us, on this individual level, and you know what though? That's the most important level.
Yep.
And that's where you've got the biggest chance of making even the littlest bit of difference. And your daughter, and I mean and by attending the wedding you attended, I mean all that's good.
So maybe I should get back on my Facebook page. I shut down the account the day of after the election.
I don't know if Facebook is the way to go.
I know, but you watch some of this stupid crap that's being posted, and and I try to like I have young nieces and nephews, and they're still impressionable, and I try to make them, help them see the other side. But I just, I just chopped off everything, and I don't know if that was a very wise thing either. But I don't know. I just can't stand it anymore.
I know. Well, I'm with you, and you're surrounded by a lot of people in the same boat. We're all struggling to figure out how we can move forward. I don't know, and I've really enjoyed this conversation, but I'm like 5 minutes over my...
Okay, I understand, but I do think that you brought a very good point, and this is actually a positive thing to talk about.
Yeah.
This is how Friday ended.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, thank you so much.
Okay, well, have a good day.
Thank you. You too. All right, guys, Celine's giving me a look like, hey, what is it? It's almost noon. What are you doing here? And I got a ton of stuff left to talk about, too, I want you to know. I'll save it for tomorrow. Well... We'll just have to keep working, guys. I don't know what else to tell you. Have a great day, and see you tomorrow.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.